Good morning. So we are still in the month of September, so we are still working with resilience, and we're slowly working our way through the koshas. So we've worked with resilience in the body, and we've worked with resilience in the breath. We're not going to give that up. We will continue to work with resilience in body and breath. And today we will add a component of working with resilience in the mind. And so there will be a lot of looking for habitual ways of responding to sensation. So we will move to our edges, and then we will play a little bit at our edges to tune into how are we reacting to the sensation that comes from the body, the sensation that comes from the breath, and what are the stories that our mind is telling us in this moment. And so then as we become more aware of our reactivity in moments of challenge, we will look for the good in that moment. Like, what is the information that that moment is trying to give us? Why is this sensation arising? And then from that goodness of that challenge, we will try to make a different choice. So maybe if sometimes we push too hard, we'll ease off. Or if we go too easy, we push a little harder. Or if we tell ourselves, I can't ever do this, we'll give it a shot. So we'll just sort of play with recognizing and then transcending habits in physical reactions, emotional reactions, and mental reactions. So we'll just play with that today and see where it takes us. So today we will take our breathing, opening centering standing. So we will get right up. And so we will work with a 4-part breath. We've been doing that a lot recently. And today we will express it through movement. I'm moving from mountain to extended mountain. I will have my own rhythm because my breath is what my breath is today. Your breath will be different. And so I invite you, if you have the balance, to close your eyes so that you can take this movement from the inside out. So you really can tune in to sensation in your own body to know when it's time for you to move the arms, when it's time for you to pause, and so on. So you're not tempted to synchronize yourself with somebody else's breath. So the movement will be simple. It'll be we inhale the arms up with the inhalation, then we hold at the top of the breath. And in the beginning, that might be a very short hold. We exhale the arms down. If you would like, you can bring them to the heart and hold here for the pause at the bottom of the breath. And then it repeats from here, inhaling up and starting to tune inward. Letting the sensation in the breath guide the movement here. If you can close the eyes, do that. And just begin to notice if there's any challenge in allowing the breath to guide movement. Sometimes there's a tendency for the body to want to take over, to move more quickly, because this tends to be our habit. And so this moment invites us to very consciously adapt the movement to the breath. This may feel a bit artificial in the beginning, or maybe it feels completely natural to you. And just notice that. And work with patience. The more you come into this moment and the more your breath settles, the slower the motions might be. And the more breath and movement synchronize, the smoother things may go. Tune into how is the breath moving through you in this moment. And how can you allow that particular breath to guide the body? Invite your mind to join this beautiful dance of breath and body by being fully attentive, fully present for each movement, and fully present for the sensations that arise. Notice if there's any change in your breathing. Is it slowing or quickening? You are not consciously influencing the breath here at all. You're simply giving it attention, and you're putting the breath in charge of the body. The next time you exhale, let your palms come together at your heart and hold steady there. Bow gently to your heart and tune into your heartbeat. You might be able to feel it through the thumbs as they press against your sternum. Tune into the sensation of the breath. And notice how the breath might be changing now that it is no longer moving the body outwardly. From this place of attentiveness, invite an intention to emerge for your time on the mat today. Perhaps a word or a phrase that dedicates your efforts to a greater purpose. And if the intention resonates for you today, breathe it into your heart with the inhalation, and then send it into the world with your exhalation. And then release the hands as you exhale, and just wiggle yourself into the moment a little bit. And then from here, we'll take a gentle kriya. We did this one last week. We will make it even more gentle. So bend your knees a little bit, soften your groins, and then begin to gently swing side to side. You can either move with the breath or you can let the body be in charge. Notice what might be your habitual way of doing this, and then decide, is that a good habit, or is there something that is more like a rut rather than a groove? And just notice, and just keep swinging side to side. letting the opposite hip come forward into this slight rotation. Finding maybe a sense of joy in the freedom here of the arms. No attempt to knock on the doors of life like we did this last week. But just a very joyful, playful sort of swinging. And then let this movement peter out. Get slower and slower. And then as it comes to an end, start to make circles with your hips. If you're of my generation and you remember the old hula hoops, right? You could pretend that you're hula hooping. You could even keep your arms out of the way of the hula hoop here, right? Lifting them up, maybe going faster and faster, just again playing, and then switch, go the opposite way. Just waking up your spine in a really playful way that maybe is not so habitual because we don't generally do this movement very often. And then slow it down. And ultimately let that movement come to rest and begin to gently dip side to side, pouring your weight into one foot and then the other foot. And then if it feels appropriate for your body, you could let the arms begin to swing into the movement. Again, being very playful here in our warm-up. And at the same time that you're being playful, also be attentive and just notice what comes up for you here. Maybe just mentally even, is there a story the mind is telling about this? And maybe there isn't. Maybe there's just a joyful presence moving. And then let this movement get slower and smaller until it just sort of fades away. Bring the arms to cactus. And then move into a slight back bend. This is like a standing cow. And then a slide forward fold, standing cat. Moving the spine now through extension, flexion, warming up. And see if this can be a playful movement. Let the knees bend, let the knees be soft here. And just intuitively move. Playfulness, joyfulness is part of mental resilience. When we can see the joy or the humor in challenge, we can certainly cope a whole lot better. And almost every challenge has something good hidden inside of it. Let this movement slow down. And take a moment to bring the hands to the heart. Invite the breath to settle. And maybe notice the vibration, the pulsation of life force that is really coursing through your body now. You might feel it from the toes to your fingertips to the tip of your head. Receive that sensation and see if you can find something joyful, playful, positive in what you notice. And then release the hands. Find your wall space if you have it. And stand in front of the wall so that you're facing the wall. And make a cactus shape. If I do that, you can't see me. Maybe over here is better. So make a cactus shape with your arms. The elbows are shoulder height. And then press the right hand firmly into the wall. Move the left arm to your side and walk both feet over to the left so that now the outside edge of your right foot is next to the wall. You're making a little twist here, using the wall as a resistance piece. So your right hand and your right forearm, even a portion of your right elbow is pressing into the wall as you open the heart. And then from here, I invite you, and this is totally optional, everything of course always is because you're listening to your own body. You could bring the left hand to your left hip and just add a little bit of a dip in the upper body. Tiny bit of heart opening here. If this is too much, it's enough to do it without the left hand. It's even enough to imagine yourself doing this. Always infinite variations that come out of every posture. With your next exhalation, turn yourself back toward the wall. And then we'll switch sides. I'll do this on the other wall. So now press the left hand, left forearm, left elbow into the wall, and then walk the feet to the right. Make the left foot parallel to the wall, and be in your little twist here. Or maybe it's a pretty big twist, or your chest might be here. You might notice that I'm a lot more open on this side than I was on the other side. My body is not the same on both sides, so you might have that same experience too. And so just notice what sensation emerges here as you take this gentle twist, facilitated by really pressing into the wall. And then if you want to add a little bit of back bending, maybe with that right hand on the right hip, you can dip the upper body back, not throwing the head back so much, so it's not a big back bend for the neck. We're really trying to bring this back bend into the part of the spine where the rib cage attaches, the thoracic spine. This is sort of a prelude to where we're headed with our postures today. We're going to open the heart. And then bring yourself back out of the back bend, and then walk your feet back to face the wall. Well, actually, now walk to the other side and have the right foot right by the wall again. Bring your right arm straight up. Now, this one is tricky, so just notice what emerges for you. You're coming to your tippy toes. Hopefully, the arm will stabilize you. And then plant your right hand. Mine is cut off on the screen, but I promise you it's planted and it's not moving. So do the same thing. Don't let your right hand move anywhere. It will want to, I promise you. Don't. And lower the heels any amount toward the earth. You're taking a big side stretch here. You can hear it in my voice. It's definitely challenging my breath. And then dip your opposite ear, I don't know if we're all on the same side, to the opposite shoulder of the arm that's lifted. You're adding a side stretch in the neck here. And really feel, and maybe your heels are on the floor by now. Mine are not quite there yet, but they're almost there. Slowly, slowly you'll release into this bend more and more. And maybe your heels never make it to the floor. Some days they do, some days they don't. With your next inhalation, Come back to the tippy toes. Phew, it was never such a relief to be here. And then release the arm down and switch sides. So stand with your left side against the wall. Bring the left arm up. And just settle in to standing here. And then come to the tippy toes. Plant the left hand on your wall. Really press it into the wall and commit to keeping it suctioned there, so that the stretch is coming from the heels, slowly, slowly, slowly descending toward the floor. Maybe not getting there. That is not the goal. The goal is to find a nice big side stretch as the ear dips toward the shoulder, opposite of the arm that's stretched up. Notice the sensations here. There's likely a lot happening in your breath. And the mind is probably getting involved with some opinions about this. And so just notice. With your next inhalation, rise back up on your tippy toes. Feel the sense of relief in the body as you release the arm down and step down, and then just shake it out a little bit. And from here, grab your strap. Let's all start with the strap. And bring it behind you so that you have it in your hands like this. I hope you can see this, right? So that the palms are facing away from you. I'm just going to show this from behind for a moment. And then can you hear me okay? Yeah? Great. Take the shoulders up and then down the back so that you really bring the shoulder blades toward each other and down. A student of mine started calling this making a V with the shoulder blades. And so just really tune into that. I hope you can see it. From here then, really grab that strap in your hand, and you'll notice that this already opened your heart quite a bit in and of itself. Walk your feet hip distance or more apart and soften the groins a little bit, maybe by bending the knees just a tiny bit. And then play with what you can do here with your arms. Maybe this is your range of motion. Right here, you're just going to pulse away from the pelvis a little bit. Or maybe in time, there's more lift in the arms. There's no requirement about how high the arms should go. This is really an exploration of sensation. And so notice what happens in terms of sensation in the body and in the breath as you are moving the arms up with the inhalation and releasing the stretch just a little bit as you exhale. Pulsing here a little bit. One more stretch behind the back, and then allow your hands to descend toward your back and fold at the hip joint. So nice neutral spine. As you come forward, the arms and the strap are resting on your low back. You're holding your body here in a 90-degree shape with the power of your core and your pelvic floor. And then, yogi's choice, probably you want to bend the knees just a little bit because we haven't really opened hamstrings. You can come forward any amount and invite the arms to travel upward any amount. They don't have to go far. In fact, they may be right here, and the movement is mostly in the torso. Just play, notice sensation, and then notice your tendencies. Are you really wanting to move more deeply into the stretch? Where is your edge here? Or are you avoiding the stretch? What is your typical way of being? And then let yourself receive sensation at the edge and notice What's good here? Is there a nice stretch in the back of the legs? Is there maybe a nice opening in the shoulders? Just notice where you're receiving something that is helpful. And are you impeding it by striving too hard or striving too little? And then invite yourself to do the opposite of what you might usually do. If you tend to over-effort, effort a little less. If you tend to move away from challenge, maybe move a little deeper. Staying connected to sensation. With your next exhalation, release the hands back down onto your back if they had risen up. And then with your next inhalation, bring yourself back up to standing and release the strap. From here, we're going to come down to the floor, and I actually invite you to have a blanket if you would like it under the knees. Have your 2 blocks available at the top of the mat. And then from here, take the right foot and plant it on the inside of the brick by your right hand. I'm just going to show that by moving the left one. And we will do a very odd sort of cat-cow thing here in a lunge, where you're coming into a bit of a cow in lunge by bringing your body forward and opening the heart. And as you exhale, you curl over the forward knee into a cat. Explore this flow for a bit. And then as you receive sensation, make a decision about what you need in this flow. Do you need more ease, in which case reduce your range of motion? Or would you like more challenge, in which case you could bring the back knee up. Cat and cow, open heart, wide open heart. Make that be with your shoulder blades as you move into cow, and then relax out of that as you move into cat. After your next cat, when you're releasing, bring the knee back down. Unweight the right hand, pour whatever weight is in the forward part of the body into the left hand, and then open yourself up here. I'm going to turn myself around so that I'm opening up to see you. Open yourself up here into yet again a little bit of a twist. And in this twist, see if you can open the heart. So as you're receiving sensation in this twist, rather than shrinking away from it, embrace it with an open heart. Maybe here you actually let the head come back a tiny bit. We never throw the head back. And then if you want, you can bring the right thumb into your right armpit and lift yourself up even more, maybe sinking into the lunge more deeply. If the arm wants to come back up, it can. It's kind of like a little twisted back bend. With your next inhalation, rise out of that. If you need to, reground yourself for a moment. And then bend the left knee even more so that the left foot lifts off of the ground. Here's where you might need a strap. So we will reach back with the right hand to catch that left foot. And if that is not accessible, you can take the strap, lasso the foot with the strap. Whoa. like this. And you could even bring the strap over your shoulder, like that, right? So just notice what's possible here. Notice what your general tendency is. Is it to just give up? Or is it to over-try? And then invite your mind to sort of weigh the options and make a discerning choice about what's best for you in this moment. And then let yourself feel the stretch in the front of the left thigh. What is good about this sensation? It's giving you feedback. It's letting you know, can I open more? Or do I need to back off? Am I afraid of this? Or can I release into it? Make wise choices. And to any degree that you want to increase the back bend here, you can open your heart more and sink deeper. It's your choice, your variation. Then with an inhalation, bring yourself back, step the right knee back, and switch sides. Now you're bringing the left foot forward to the inside of the brick, and we will start again with our little cow and cat movement in lunge, starting with the knee lowered, and then ultimately, if you would like, lifting the knee. So inhaling forward into cow, keeping that heart open. And releasing into cat. You could even explore this with your 4-part breath here. Inhaling into cow, holding cow, having an opportunity while you're not breathing, while you're at the top of the breath to open more deeply into the back bend. And then exhaling into a gentle forward curl and holding at the bottom of the breath. Flowing through, maybe at this point making a discerning choice about whether to lift the back knee up to flow through cat and cow in lunge pose. I've made it my goal to figure out how you can do cat and cow in almost every position. You may have caught on to that. We've done a lot of cat and cow recently, all different kinds of places, so it's kind of fun. So can you find the joy in this? Can you find the playfulness in this? After your next cat, release the back knee down. Unweight the left hand, so pouring more of the forward weight into the right hand and twist yourself open with a little back bend added as sort of the cherry on top. Come back down, do it again. If you would like, you can use that little suspender move to open the heart more, to really access drawing the shoulder blades down the back and toward each other. Open heart in a twist. So we're combining back bends and twists to really create a lot of sensation today, to give you this nice laboratory in which to explore your habits, transcend them, and find resilience. If you want to, you can lift that arm up. Finding your back bend here, moving deeper, exploring sensation. And then bring yourself back. If you needed your strap on the other side, have it handy. You may not need it on this side, where we tend to be not entirely symmetrical. And then catch the right foot with the left hand. And draw the foot in, keeping the heart open. Finding your variation here of this twisted back bend. Keeping your heart open by continuing to roll the shoulder blades down the back and toward each other. Maybe sinking deeper into this quad stretch. The quads are the big muscles in the front of your thigh. Heart is open. The mind is open to receiving sensation and then making choices about what to do with that. We're creating sensation with one part of our brain by moving into these shapes. We're receiving sensation with another part of our brain, and then we're making decisions about what to do with sensation. All kinds of cool brain stuff happening. And then inhale yourself back and release yourself out, coming to standing on your knees. You don't have to switch. I will show this from the front and then again from the side. We did the suspender move one-sided in our twisted back bend. You can now decide to try it out with both hands at the same time. So you take your thumb, you put it into your armpit, and you roll the shoulders up and back. Hopefully you saw that. If that's not accessible to you, you can take your hands, put them at the side of the rib cage, and create the movement that way. So you don't have to hook the thumb if that's really uncomfortable for you. What this does is it really encourages the shoulder blades to drop down and back and to bring our back bend high into the body. So rather than making like a really big curve here in the lumbar, which is habitual but not healthy, we're bringing the back bend higher into the body. Can you see that? I don't know if I'm demonstrating that well enough, but so this is the discerning choice point here, is how can you bring this bend higher into the body rather than kinking yourself at the lumbar spine. And so this is how you do it. And from here, if you want to bring the head back a tiny bit, you can, but don't just throw the head back and lose all muscular control. Hold the head in line with the spine. And you're in like a little mini camel variation here. If you feel comfortable here and you want more, really engage the core, engage the glutes, let the hands go. And if they want to travel up, you can let them travel up. Just notice if you're habitually keeping in the lumbar spine and make a discerning choice about how can I make this shape healthier for my body here. Keeping the opening in the heart and the bend in the thoracic spine. With your next inhalation, lift yourself up and release yourself down into rocks pose. You might really feel the effect of the effort here. And then you can remove your blocks for the moment. Keep your strap handy though. If you have low back issues or if you just want to play with it today, it might be really nice to keep the blanket and have your pelvis on the blanket as we move ourselves onto our belly here. Yogi's choice, so if you don't like this idea at all, think about it, make a discerning decision, and then decide, okay, I'm going to use the blanket or not. You can always remove it if after a while you sort of feel like, not my thing. And then release yourself all the way down to the belly, planting the hands underneath the shoulders. And please face your head forward. I'm looking to the side because I'm trying to see what's happening on the screen with all of you. But for you, I would really recommend that you not torque your neck in that way. And then let the hands float here. So they're under the shoulders, they were on the floor, but now we're lifting them about an inch above the floor. And as you're doing that, think about that suspender move. Move the shoulders up shoulder blades come down the back, plant on the back and move toward each other. And then let the inhalation lift the chest in the same way that it lifted in camel pose. So high in the back. The blanket under the hip helps with that. It brings some stability into the lumbar spine and lets the back bend come higher up. And so just be here to any degree of lift that feels comfortable for you. At any point that you need to release down, please release down. This is your practice. From here, you can either take a rest, or you can see if the legs can float up as well. It's not a requirement, it's just an invitation. So receive sensation. Notice how you would typically react here. Ask yourself what might be good in lifting the legs, what might be good in lowering the legs, and then make a decision based on that. Play with variations. Maybe you're flying, arms out, stretched behind you. Maybe you're swimming, arms moving forward and back, legs maybe opening and closing. Maybe you're imagining this, maybe you're doing half of that movement, just the arms or just the legs. Just play and take in your sensations in the breath, in the body, and your reactions in the emotions and your mind. And then bring the hands to the floor, slide yourself onto your elbows to come into Sphinx pose, which is your resting pose. This is your recovery pose. If it doesn't feel like that to you, you can choose a different pose. Maybe your elbows are in front of you and your head rests. But take a moment to rest. Take a moment to recover your breath from the effort. Take a moment to receive sensation here. After you created a lot of sensation. And then notice what's good here. What serves you here? What is positive? For me, it's noticing that my breath is just naturally re-regulating itself, and that with patience, I can be here and find ease again. For you, it might be something in your body, or it might be something in your mind. So notice what's good here. And then you can either stay in Sphinx pose, or you can lower yourself down and bring an elbow ahead of you. Let's do the left one. You could even release the head onto that forearm. Your choice. Bend to the right knee, flex the right ankle, and lift the right thigh. This doesn't look like much on the outside, but it actually is a nice challenge. It hugs the muscles onto bone on your leg, and it increases the back bend in the spine. Notice if your glutes are firing here, and refine that movement. If they're gripping, maybe soften. If they're not really on board, maybe engage them more, finding sort of that happy medium. From here, you might need your strap. For me, it's more comfortable at this point in Sphinx if I take my left forearm and make it parallel to the short edge of the mat. What we will do is reach back in the same way that we did in the lunge. And we will catch, yet again, our foot. You're creating a nice back bend here. So think yet again about shoulder blades on your back. Twisting into the back bend by turning the head to the side where you're lifting the leg. And again, remember, you can be on the floor here with the upper body. So you could be in this variation. If you were in the twist, unravel the twist. Let go of the foot very gently. Bring the right arm forward and then make a few circles with the right ankle before you release the foot to the ground. And then switch sides. So now the right forearm is parallel to the top of the mat, either in Sphinx position, so with a bigger back bend, or on the floor with a little bit less of a back bend. Both variations are beautiful and very helpful to the exploration that we're engaging in today, which is to just find the good in whatever it is that we're doing. Bend the left knee. Flex the left ankle. And then lift the left thigh off the ground. Notice where this creates sensation. Notice where you might over or under effort, and make a choice about whether you want to transcend that habit and play a little bit with what you don't usually do. Then reach back with the left hand, catch the left foot. And you can catch it with the strap, of course. Curl the foot around your hand so that you have a really nice, firm connection. And draw the leg back. In your mind, you might be here. That might be a huge stretch already for your quads, for your back. You're really stretching the front body open today. You're opening yourself up to something new, to something good. Be open to the sensation. Maybe add even more of a twisting motion to this back bend. Then reverse yourself out of the twist. Gently release the foot from the hand and take a few circles with the ankle as you gently begin to release that leg to the earth. From here, bring the hands under the shoulders. Yet again, this time you'll actually press the hands into the earth. Plant your legs very firmly on the ground. Press even the toenails into the ground. Engage your glutes and have a sensation of lengthening the tailbone away from you so that you're really bringing some stretch almost into the lumbar spine. Your belly lifts off the floor a little bit. We're just countering the back bending a tiny bit here. And then we'll take one last big back bend of your choice. You can come to a mini cobra, you can come to a regular cobra, you can come to a big cobra, or you could press all the way into upward dog. Your choice, your discernment. You have to receive the sensation from your body and make a decision about what serves you in this moment. Don't just do what you see on the screen. Do what you feel from the inside out. You could even close your eyes to make the decision of where do I go. With your next exhalation, gently lower down. And then widen the knees, keeping the feet together. You can leave the blanket because it might actually be nice for your head. You could double it up as we take a nice wide knee child's pose here to rest and relax for a moment. In this pose, there's nothing to do but to receive sensation. So be here observing, witnessing, being curious about what is happening as your body recalibrates itself, as your breath re-regulates itself, and as your nervous system recalms itself. Simply being present for whatever is. Maybe inviting yourself to let go of all effort. Just being present. Breathing. Calming. Yielding to the present moment. And then slide your hands underneath your shoulders. Press yourself up to a seat. To bring the hips to one side and work your way toward a supine position, a position on your back. You might want to have your blanket ready for your head if that's what you do in Shavasana. Your choice of how you transition onto your back, you can use your hands or you can roll down using your core strength. Once you've arrived on your back, give your knees a gentle hug in. You decide how closely your knees will hug into the body. I really like to walk my hips away from my shoulders here, especially after back bends. That feels really luxurious. I'm creating space between my vertebrae. And so you might want to join me in that if that feels appropriate for you. Maybe you have the urge to make little circles with your legs, or maybe you just have the urge to be here and hug yourself. That could be too. That's totally okay. Just tune into whatever it is that feels good right now. Just countering the effects of the back bends a little bit by curling into yourself. If you would like to just continue to explore here, you're absolutely welcome to. If you need a little bit more release for the low back, you can bring your feet back to the mat, place them mat width apart, and move into a few windshield wipers. Both legs to one side and then both legs to the other side, using either the rhythm of your breath or resting on one side for a while and then resting on the other side for a while. You decide. Just be sure that your decision is conscious, mindful, discerning, that it's based on sensation you're receiving from your body, from your breath. It's not reactive, but responsive. and wide. And then from here, if you need any other little wiggles or movements, this is the time to make them before you settle yourself into your Shavasana position for today. Making a choice about having a blanket under the head or a rolled up blanket under the knees. And invite every fiber of your physical being to sink into your chosen Shavasana shape. Surrendering the weight of the body. Inviting the exhalation to deepen the letting go in the body. So as you exhale, let that accentuate the relaxation, the letting go, the releasing in the physical body. As you exhale, invite that exhalation to release any gripping or holding in the mind. Releasing whatever thoughts or judgments or plans or memories are emerging. Letting them go, breathing them out with the exhalation. Resettling yourself into this moment. Knowing that there is sensation in the body, there's sensation in the mind, there's sensation in the breath. And being okay with all of it, maybe even finding something good to tune into. Then release the body, release the breath, release the mind. Surrender, yield, and move into a few moments of silence. Gently begin to bring yourself back to the outer world. Perhaps inviting a conscious breath. Perhaps inviting a little stretch or movement into the body. Perhaps reorienting yourself to where you are through your senses. Taking in sounds, smells, maybe even blinking the eyes open. And then plan your transition toward a seat via your right side, maybe pausing there. When you feel ready, you can begin the actual movement. Moving gently and kindly. Once you have found a seat, your hands can rest on your thighs or in your lap, or you can bring your palms together at your heart. I invite you to bow your head to heart center and to bow to your sense of resilience, your capacity to move your body skillfully, your capacity to let the breath flow freely, your capacity to make conscious and discerning choices in your mind about how to show up in your world, how to show up for yourself, how to show up for others. As always, I thank you for sharing this practice with me. It's an honor, a privilege, and a pleasure. Take good care.